No, no, no. We're not displaying that garbage up here. Zack Snyder's Justice League freaking exists. I can't believe that this project was able to actually happen. I'm pretty sure most of you know what the Snyder Cut is. If you are nerdy in any sort of way, you probably have been following this for like the past couple of years. But in case you don't, I'm going to tell you what it is right now. So in 2017, we got Justice League, and that was a terrible movie. I honestly hate that movie. I rewatched it just barely. I've seen it twice now. When I saw it in the theater, I thought it wasn't too bad, but as I watched it recently, it is an awful, awful movie. And the reason why it was so bad was because there was a bunch of production issues, namely Zack Snyder having to step down. His daughter unfortunately took her life during the production slash post-production of this film. And one way or another, whether it be him leaving on his own accord or by Warner Brothers just saying, hey, we got this, don't worry about it, go take some time off. One way or another, it led to Joss Whedon taking the project from him. And they are two totally, completely different directors, and their styles don't match at all. And the result was one of the most totally inconsistent messes of a film that I've ever seen. The only reason why I'm going to keep that movie in my Blu-ray collection is because it may or may not be a collector's item one day. Or I could like show my grandkids, be like, hey, you know that awesome Justice League movie? Well, this movie came out first. You're never going to believe the crap that's in this movie. All the weird choices they made at first. And with that being said, yes, I absolutely love the Snyder Cut. It is a much better movie than the original theatrical cut. It is leaps and bounds better, probably a billion times better. I am by no means a Snyder bot, okay? I don't really enjoy a lot of his films. Like Man of Steel, I think is eh. Batman vs. Superman, I like it even less now after watching the Snyder Cut. A lot of people like Batman vs. Superman, and I think the Snyder Cut validated it more. Personally, I hate the Batman vs. Superman a lot more because of the Snyder Cut, because this film basically killed all potential possibilities of the Snyder Cut ever getting a sequel. And that's why I hate this piece of shit. So honestly, it's kind of a shame that the one time that Zack Snyder is able to make an amazing superhero movie, it's when there is little to no possibility of it ever getting a sequel. So what makes the Snyder Cut so much better for me? Well, we get a lot more time to get to know our characters. It is twice as long as the theatrical cut, so we have twice as much time to get to know the characters that in the theatrical cut were very underdeveloped. As far as additional footage goes that we never ever got to see in the theatrical cut, there are sequences and there are characters that are so awesome to see in this movie that I can't fathom how dumb Warner Brothers must have been to not include them in the theatrical cut. Like, what kind of brain-killing drugs were these people on? Characters with the biggest improvements of this film are Steppenwolf, the Flash, and Cyborg. Steppenwolf doesn't get like the biggest improvement of a villain. He gets actual motive, and we understand why he's doing what he does in this movie now. He still doesn't have a whole lot of depth to him, but at least now he's a passable villain and he's somewhat interesting. And he looks a whole lot cooler too. The character of the Flash in the original cut seemed way too overly comedic, whereas in this film it feels a lot more fluid and it matches the tone a little bit better, way better actually. He is like that nice comic relief in this film, whereas opposed to it being complete comedic overload in the theatrical cut. And we also get to see a lot more additional stuff with him that are both equally heartfelt, as well as other scenes that are really, really cool that I can't believe WB decided to cut them out. The character that gets the most development compared to any of the other ones is Cyborg. You may have heard this quote all over the place by now, but he really is the heart and soul of this movie. And I really hope that Ray Fisher and Warner Brothers just figure their shit out. I doubt they'll ever work again together, but like if they can just figure it out, that would be amazing. Because I would love to see him play Cyborg again. And I would love to see him be in these in any DC projects coming forward. Aquaman is the character that probably gets the least amount of new stuff. He probably gets just as much character depth as he did in the first Justice League. If this movie were to have come out before the Aquaman movie, that may have affected my viewing experience of this film negatively, but now that the Aquaman movie has come out, that hasn't really knocked me down as much. As far as my perception of the big three of the Justice League go after viewing this film, I think Ben Affleck may be my favorite Bruce Wayne. 100%. I'm not sure if he's my favorite Batman per se. He may be or may not be. I don't know, but he is my favorite Bruce Wayne. Henry Cavill is an amazing Superman. I don't like the character of Superman personally, so like I guess this is the best I can get. But I still don't feel that connection to that character. That's not Henry Cavill's fault, though. I feel like that's definitely a part of Zack Snyder's writing. Wonder Woman's the character that now has like 2 other movies to back this one up. So she probably has like the most pre-established development out of any of the characters in this movie. So basically, everything that she has going for in this movie is basically pre-established, which is fine with me.
And she's got a cool new ringtone for whenever she walks in the door.
Despite a 4-hour-long runtime, the editing in this film feels way smoother than the original. And the original cut, it just seemed like it would just jump to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing without explaining how the hell it got there. It was very jarring, and it feels way more smooth this time. I mean, 30 minutes could have been cut, and it would have probably been better. But I didn't really have any problems with any of the scenes that were shown. I mean, they were all good scenes, just that some of them may or may have not needed to have been in there. The editing of the action scenes in particular feels way, way better. They look way cooler now, with Zack Snyder's stylized way of directing his action sequences, as well as the amazing score to accompany them done by Junkie XL. The last thing that I thought was really iffy about this movie was the aspect ratio. I get that it was shot in IMAX and he wanted to maintain that aspect ratio, but we didn't get to see this movie in theaters, so it felt pretty jarring at times watching that on the screen. I'm okay with a lot of movies being in 4:3, but this one in particular I was a bit on. Like, sometimes it worked for me and then other times it didn't. I feel like I would have preferred it more if it was done in full screen rather than 4:3 or CinemaScope widescreen. My overall thoughts on this movie is that it is definitely not perfect, but I thought it was an extremely beautiful film with a lot more to say than the original. I want more. I really want to see Justice League 2 and 3 from Zack Snyder. I hope he doesn't screw those up. I hope he doesn't do Batman versus Superman type of stuff with those movies, if he ever gets to make them. If I think about this film in regards to it may never get a sequel ever, that makes the film definitely truly stand out as an extremely special film. And it makes me really sad, but it's a good sad. But, on the other hand, if it were to get sequels, I would be very happy. And I would be very openly amused to seeing those.
I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
I'm going to give Zack Snyder's Justice League an A-. Anyways, you guys, what did you think of the Snyder Cut? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you a Snyder bot? If you are, then we agree on one thing, and that this is a good movie. I don't think there's a lot of other great Zack Snyder movies. We'll see how Army of the Dead goes. There's also a few of his movies that I've never seen, so I gotta watch those as well. Anyways, be sure to like and sub, hit the bell, subscribe, I already said that. Do whatever you gotta do. Share it, and have a nice one.